It made us go live. I hope y'all know that. YouTube made us go live. What do I mean by that? We were trying to get this situated and it was like boom live. So here we are. But we need to talk about this. We need to talk about the 7 signs that the Western Empire is collapsing, okay? This is serious. The writing is on the wall, but we need to distill this and actually see these 7 signs, because it's not just certain communities of people in America are talking about it. This isn't like an African speaking point. This is literally a humanity speaking point for you to understand that Western civilization is experiencing a type of collapse. What you see happening with Trump, what you see happening with everything that's going on in the West. There was even breaking news that Germany, and I'm gonna pull up the article as well, Germany, among other countries, have issued travel warnings to America. And then recently, South Africa pulled out their ambassador to America. And so tensions are increasing across the board. And we're experiencing the collapse of an entire society. And your question needs to be, okay, where do I want to be during this time? What do I want to do? How am I going to hedge the safety and protection of my legacy? And your legacy first is your children. Number 2 is your business ownership. Number 3 is whatever message you put into the world.
Yes. Everything you said, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pulling up these signs because I want to get into the actual signs of what's happening so that you guys can understand. It was such a good post I saw.
Yeah, shalom, family. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Make sure you like the video when you are entering the chat.
I thought I sent it to your phone and I don't see it.
And do you send a message?
No.
Is it to the other one?
Yes, guys. This is wild. This is really wild. Oh, perfect. Here we go. And it's exactly what I've been talking about, but this is from a creator on Instagram named @traumatized_thriving. Now, we've been saying on here consistently that the collapse of the West isn't going to disappear. America's not going to just disappear off the map. If you look at Greece, which is an ancient kingdom that was around during biblical times, Greece is still there. Rome is still there, but it's called Italy in the Catholic Church. Egypt is still on the planet. These places are still in existence, but they're not the dominant world powers. Their currencies are not the main ones. American currency, the US dollar, already is not the main currency of the world. It already has depleted. The US passports have already depleted as well, being ranked at number 9 right now in the list of passports. There was a time in our parents' and our grandfathers' age where it was like, oh, America is the top place to be, and that time has fallen, that time has passed. And we're seeing that the East is going to rise, and this is your time to make a decision. Okay, do I want to be a part of this rise? Okay. So again, this is from an Instagram account called @traumatized_living. And we need to talk about what has not worked in terms of a collapsing society. Hoarding resources, relying on the state, aka relying on, whatever food stamps, whatever government stimulus, whatever government things, subsidies they have, ignoring the warning signs. That for daggone sure does not work in a collapse. Ignoring the warning signs is going to make it worse. It's going to make the impact much worse. And then individualism and isolation never works in a collapsed society. You need to be in a society where there's community. Like one of our drivers that we use, he one day was available to fix our pipes for us. They're always telling us what we can look out for. You need local African relationships. You need to be in proximity to people who know how to live off land, know the lay of the land, know what to do in certain times. And then another thing that we need to talk about is having solar power. Solar power is big on this island. Solar power is big in Africa, period. A lot of homes, even if you're in the village, they have solar power. So we need to get back to being more resourceful with our energy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep going. So what does a collapse look like? Y'all ready for this? It's not a sudden event, it's already happening. This is exactly what we've been saying. It's not a sudden event. And I'm so happy to actually see this post, because it was like, oh, I haven't just been saying things that people don't understand. Somebody else gets it. There are other people seeing the writing on the wall. Again, a collapse is not a sudden thing. It's not like one thing and it's like, whoops, everything's collapsed. You're already experiencing a collapse. You're already living in it. The symptoms are hyper, super duper inflation, like America has experienced since 2019. America has experienced super duper hyperinflation since 2019. Okay? And so let's keep going along this list here. Let's keep going. Let's see if any of this is true. Food and water shortages. Let's pause. Food and water shortages that are happening in Western society, not just Western society, but the Middle East as well. Countries like Saudi Arabia, we know this because we watched a documentary called The Grab. They don't put this on CNN. This isn't hitting BBC, although it should be. But countries like Saudi Arabia and a few of their neighbors are buying up land in America, specifically Arizona, Utah, New Mexico. They're running out of land. They do not have enough food. The land that they have in the desert in the Middle East is unable to grow produce. And so they need to go somewhere where they can at least grow some produce. So they are buying up land in the States, okay? So this is what we're talking about when we talk food and water shortages. One thing I want to go back to when we're talking about hoarding, I'm so glad that this creator said this, okay? Hoarding is not a wise decision. When you're living in America, and we've been through this too when we lived in the States, we were thinking, you know, stock up on all the rice, all the beans, all the this, all the that, just stock up on everything. But the thing is, people know you stock up. People watch you in America. People know who stocked up. People know who has the stuff that they need. If you have 10 million pounds of rice, obviously they're watching you and they know that you have that. And so in a collapsing society or in times of distress, to hoard all of that stuff makes you a main target. This is why hoarding does not work. So we're gonna go and continue on the things that do not work in a collapsing society, okay? Internet and power grid instability, increased state violence and surveillance. Countries and empires that have historically been collapsing or under a certain type of economic global distress, they want more control. It's just like if you have a friend and you start to realize this friend isn't a right fit for you anymore. Sometimes toxic people will want more control. They'll want to control you. They'll want to have false assumptions. They'll want to narrate what they want to be narrated in your brain. They're going to control the way you think. This is why American media, not just American media, but Western media will try to put out certain narratives to control the way you think about Africa, to control the way you think about China, to control the way you think about travel outside of America, to control the way that you think when you're only in America, 4% of the world population. 4%, okay? And then climate disasters, which is insane. We did a community post, it was a few days ago, and it was talking about go to Journey with Us, check out the community tab. You're gonna have to scroll back a few days. But it was saying that America is the only country on earth that has all of these combined: hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, snow blizzards, earthquakes, all in one country and one landmass. There is no other country on the face of the entire planet that experiences all of those at one time, including mudslides. Do you want to add anything?
It's pretty obvious. Like, it's pretty obvious. It's written. Like, it's just coming down to that time of if you don't know, you just gonna be lost. But if you do, if you got some kind of intelligence, if you got some kind of sense, some kind of knowledge, it's right in your face. Because that's a good point of how all 4 seasons, really 5, how you broke it down, but
the
with
natural
fires,
disasters.
natural disasters. happens in America. So it's like, yeah, y'all. The best thing to do is just get out that place, as we keep saying, for 5 years.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And don't count yourself out. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I can't get out. There's no possible way. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's always possibility. You have
It's
to take
possible. It's simple
inventory
too.
of yourself and see what you're good at. See what you can create a business out of. Yes, it's going to be hard work. Yes, it's going to require diligence. Yes, it's going to require research. Yes, it's going to require going outside of your comfort zone. But at the end of the day, the reward of being outside of America is much greater and much bigger than staying in a society that's going to collapse. And it's not just America, it's the West in general. The East is rising and will continue to rise, and the West will collapse. That's just the way that things are going to go, okay? And so let's talk about more solutions. We talked about these 7 main signs of an empire collapsing, okay? We can go over them once again just so that we have the full bullet pointed list, okay? The signs that an empire is going to collapse: you see people hoarding resources, you see over dependence on the state, people that start to ignore the warning signs. You're going to see people that actually look like the fall of Rome, an economy that looks like the fall of Rome, okay? What else? 2 more things. Our 2 other points are the currency and the passports. In the US and in Western countries are not as strong. US dollar is not as strong anymore. The US passport used to be ranked number 1. Right now it's hovering at number 9 in the global index of the best passports to have, okay? And it's going to keep declining from there. So what do? You're like, okay, I have all these problems. What's the solution? Number 1, education. You need to educate yourself. You need to educate yourself on renewable energy. And you should probably be in a society that relies to some degree on renewable energy. One of the wonderful things about this island is that they have a lot of windmills. There's solar power. There's a lot of renewable energy. You want to be in a society that preferences that. Number 2, business ownership. If you do not own your business, you do not own your time. Period. If you do not own your business, you do not own your time. And it's not the time to be in an era where you do not have ownership over your business. Ownership over business is key, because that's going to enable you to purchase property. That's going to enable you to have free time. That's going to enable you to be able to educate your family. That's going to enable you to have the space and the opportunity to think outside the box, because you own your business, you own your time, you own your resources. So you don't have to go to somebody else's table. You set the table, you set the standard. We're talking about solutions. Other solutions: get used to living like a local. Understand, when you come to Africa, you're coming to Africa not to be an American, not to hang out with Americans. That's not the point. You could have stayed in America for that.
It's gonna be different. Just point blank. It's just gonna be different. So you just gotta go with the flow of things. That's just how it is. You think when you come outside of America, every place is like America. It's not. You know, it's really not. Although they try to make it seem like that, but it's not. Just say, for example, I don't know if this is a good example, but South Africa. I know like a lot of people say they go to South Africa, and it's very similar to America. You know, we haven't been to South Africa, so I can't really speak on it, but that's what I hear. You know, but I'm pretty sure if they go to certain parts of South Africa, it's very local.
Right.
And that's where you want to be. You wanna see how the locals live, see how the locals move around, see how, you know, the locals eat every day. Really, because when stuff hit the fan, that's how it's gonna be in a way. You know, you gotta really survive off the land. And it's really getting down to that time. I'm not saying it's gonna happen tomorrow or next week or next month. Nobody really knows, but you know, when you really wake up to this truth, you want to follow the ancient path, and that is the ancient path. You know, you sustaining yourself, you sustaining your family. Just as my wife was saying, get your business together, and then you can sustain yourself. You can sustain your family for generations to come.
Exactly, and leave them a legacy. Leave them something that's not debt. You know, it's not helpful to pass down debt to children. That's something America loves to do. That doesn't further your legacy. That cripples your legacy. When you pass down too many mortgages, too much debt, we should be passing down LLCs, sole proprietorships, brand names. The way that Wendy's passed down their legacy from what? They started, I think Wendy's started in like the 1930s, and it was named after the CEO's daughter, Wendy. That's a legacy. That's a name that has not gone out since that time. So how can you leave a name for your family and for your legacy where your children will be thankful and say, okay, this is great. They left us a legacy. Your grandchildren will rise up and say, wow, grandpa and grandma, they did such a good thing. They named this after, whatever name they wanted to name it, and they really changed things for our trajectory. This is the time where a lot of people are going to get wealthy overnight, seemingly. A lot of people will come into wealth, but at the same time, the people that are not heeding these instructions and heeding these warnings are going to be in a worse off situation. Just look at 2019, where you had two types of people. In 2019, 2020, you had people that saw the recession, saw the pandemic, and made wise decisions, went deeper into their business, went deeper into their messaging, went deeper into being intentional with what they do, honing in on their skill, their craft, whatever it is. And then you had people that gave up. Or you had people that did not have finance management and did not know how to grow and scale their firms, and so they invested in things that do not immediately drive revenue. There's only one main thing that immediately drives revenue for a business, and that's messaging, that's education, that's communication strategy. Without that main thing, there is no business, period. And a lot of entrepreneurs did not understand that in 2019, 2020, which is why most businesses have went out of business in the Black community since 2020. This is a statistic. 8 out of 10. That's 80%. That's horrible. That's not good. So it's like, what can we do? What are we missing here? And it's not time to say, oh, well, we didn't have equal access, we didn't have this, we didn't have that. Yes, we know that. Let's move forward now and figure out what needs to be done. Because our firm is in the 20% of businesses who made it past that time, but it was created in 2016, 2017. So it's time to ask, all right, what are successful people doing different than people that were not able to endure, or people who had businesses that were not able to endure with the times? And going on, we need to talk about, this is your area, we need to talk about this finance flip that's about to happen. When we talk about XRP, when we talk about, those are all your terminologies, but this is a solution. This is a solution for people if they do it right now and listen to you.
It's just gonna happen. It's happening right now. We hear it about banks shutting down and stuff like that. Just look up Bank of America and XRP. That's why XRP had the case, or Ripple XRP had the case put on them in the first place, because the Bank of America came out and said, hey man, this technology is great. Let's do it. Let's use it. It's like, oh no, this is security. So we gotta hold this back for a couple of years.
Now, what did you tell me earlier? You said BlackRock liquidated how much in gold?
Yeah, we gonna get. But the most important thing is everything's gonna flip, right? We know this. We just know it. It's just, in a way, it's prophesied in a way. So you have to think, how can they flip the whole banking system to this cryptocurrency, to blockchain, right? You gotta think about, hey, restarting your computer, or just restarting anything. When you update it or restart it, it turns off. So you hear all this talk about, a power grid and stuff like this. You hear all this talk about war, and the U.S. is in war. If you didn't know, war is definitely amongst America. No matter if you don't like to hear it or not, but it's happening right now, right as we speak. So they gotta blame it on something. They gotta blame it on somebody. They gotta blame it on a country. They gotta blame it on somebody, right? So it's gonna be a time where a power outage is gonna happen, and it might be pretty soon. So you really gotta dig deep and understand, like, hey, this is gonna happen. So you gotta prepare. You gotta be wise in these times, because It really just has to happen. I don't know how to explain it. It just has to happen. It's gonna be good for some people. It's not gonna be good for some people. So
Let's
you
break
gotta
that
you gotta
down.
choose which side you're gonna be on.
Who's it going? It's going to be good for people that value education,
Yeah.
people that value mentorship, education, people that have a heart and mind posture of I don't know everything. That's how we were able to get this information. You didn't think, oh, I know everything just because I live in Africa, or just because I have a wife and children. You still took it upon yourself to understand this market and to understand the changes that are happening in the world. And so the people that are going to reap a great reward in these times are going to be people that have that mindset no matter what the age. If you can humble your spirit and be more, act more in a spirit of humility, then you're going to be able to reap those rewards and say, okay, let me look into this stuff. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, I have no idea. It's like another language. I have no idea what's even going on. But check out the link in the description. You actually have an enrollment page about exactly what XRP is, how people need to be getting in this market now, because it's going to be like Bitcoin. If you get in when it's too late, you're going to get in and lose money. This is how people spend thousands of dollars and lose it, because they don't know the skill. Skill over everything. Skill, like in business and life, it's all about the skill. Don't chase trends.
Yeah, education. Education. That's the main thing. No matter what is gonna happen, like education is key. Learning is key. You have to be adjustable to what is happening right now. Like really, you got to think about. Dang, I'm about to say something. Go ahead.
Now, I was just going to bring up some of these statistics and data points about XRP. This is recent. This is March 22nd. Binance Square is the article. Just in, a $1.4 million deal sparks massive changes and Trump's surprising shift in stance. Okay? So there are contracts, okay, that are being put in place in the U.S. government that is going to lead to a total system flip. Okay, 1.4 trillion, that's a lot. And you were telling me earlier how BlackRock is actually going to liquidize most of their gold and convert it to what? Cryptocurrency.
Bitcoin. Yeah, cryptocurrency.
That's
so
crazy.
It's just that's what I was gonna say. No matter how comfortable you are, right? Oh yeah, I got this in my hand. Let me tell you. Look, no matter how uncomfortable you are with crypto and stuff, right? This is gonna happen, and I just don't want our people to be left behind, because this is gonna affect a lot of people. If you think, oh, I'm better than Joseph, put it like that. Read the story of Joseph. He was in the mid. His house had Egyptian paintings all over it. He had to wear a ring of pharaohs. You think you get what I'm saying? So I hear it all the time with people. They always be like, oh, that's yes. But you better be behind the scenes.
Right.
Why it's low right now?
Right.
Before the whole world start to catch on.
Yeah, because then it would be
It's
too
only
late.
it's only like 7%. Less than 10% of the world knows about this cryptocurrency.
That's a blessing.
It's a big community and stuff like that. Once you really start to look into it, everything start popping up, and you be like, wow, it's a lot of people that talks about it. It's a lot of people that follow it.
Yeah.
And these are the people that's gonna benefit from it when the system flips, when the switch flips. It's gonna be a snap of a finger. And you just don't want to wait you don't want to be late.
Yeah,
you don't want to be late.
Recessions are such a great time, Recession, if you have the right mindset. Psalms 37 says that the righteous shall eat in a famine. They shall want for nothing. The reason that happens is because righteous people also have a spirit of meekness, a willingness to learn, a willingness to be obedient to the call of the Most High, a willingness to say, I don't know everything. Righteous people are not prideful. Even if you think you know something, abase yourself because you know nothing. We keep that same mindset. Even being that we've been in business for almost a decade, we're still like, there's people out there that know more than us. And so if you keep that same mindset, then you're going to be enjoying your lifestyle in a famine. Now check out the link in the description to learn more about the Chart Masters Academy, because this is the skill. Like, if you don't understand how to read the charts, you don't know what an uptrend is, what a downtrend is, you don't know where the floor is. You were talking earlier about how a floor is being created for XRP, because this is going to be the new baseline, so that when it goes above this level, it's going to shoot off. If you don't know those things, you will lose money in the market. And a lot of you probably have already lost money in the market. Years ago, I lost money in the market because I didn't know the skill. I have no desire to learn the skill. That's what my husband's for. But it's a lot. It's something to learn. There's definitely a learning curve. But if you're someone that's able to get it, and you're able to receive that mentorship, and you're able to start to read the language of a chart and see, oh, this has to explode because we have X, Y, and Z formula telling me that that's what's going to happen. That's a whole different ball game when you can hedge your revenue in your business. Now you apply that to your business revenue, and it's like you can hedge your investments exceedingly on all sides. You have ownership, then you have wealth management. These are the things that we need to be thinking about in the last days, in recessions, in famines. We need to put on the mindset of a master strategist. Let me be wise. Let me be diligent. Let me be a good steward of what I have. Let me only invest in things that drive a bottom line and directly correlate to revenue, not nice to haves. Let's do things that are necessary.
Really, really, and you gotta learn how to read between the lines. You gotta learn how to decode everything that they're saying. What is the U.S. president saying? Like, it was just some news out too. With, in a week, Trump sold all the passports, the gold visas.
Oh yeah, no, he sold 1,000, so he generated an additional 5 billion in revenue.
Yeah, 5 billion for the U.S. in a week, off the gold visas and stuff.
Yeah.
He was talking about how the U.S. America is going to be the crypto capital of the world. Wow. So he's playing. Once you get into this space, and especially if you know chess, you know, like if you understand chess, you got to be two moves ahead of your opponent, maybe 3. So everything that's happening right now, Trump is really playing the long-term game of being the crypto capital of the world. Eventually, I know once everything hit the fan and everybody know about it, it's gonna be bad. But right now, these next couple years and stuff, maybe the next year or 2, it's gonna be good if you are in the right position. But
what's the right position?
Just learning this skill, like really understanding how to move your money around different wallets and stuff like that. Understanding is the crypto in general. But with him saying crypto capital of the world, there's a lot of people that are, how can I put it? They're smart. They're wise, right? So they're talking about wiping out the U.S. debt, right, with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin, at like in a certain amount of time. It can happen pretty soon. So like when I hear stuff like that, it's like I just have to sit back and like really decode some things, because it's happening, y'all. Everything right now is happening for a reason. It's not happening and it's gonna go away. No. It's happening so it can move forward.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say to that? Like, it's happening, and what can you do? You better just be in the right position, like you were saying. Like, you better get knowledge while it's available. Mm-hmm. I was talking about this in a previous video, but this analogy is so good. There are seasons to life. There are seasons to reap and harvest. Farmers know this. There are seasons to plant certain produce. There are seasons where you need to let the ground rest. There are seasons to get an abundant harvest. This is the season where you can get an abundant harvest. You can get in and get out. You can get in while things are low. This is a recession economy. Most stocks are down. The only 2 stocks we're invested in right now is Nvidia and Wisdom Tree Japan, because they're the only 2 that aren't like crazily dumping, and we got in when it was lower, when everything was dumping. But this is the position, and this is the strategy of let me do things in their time, in their season. There's a season to everything in life. King Solomon said it himself in the book of Ecclesiastes. It says there's a time and season for everything. There's a time to laugh. There's a time to cry. There's a time to reap. There's a time to throw things away. There's a time for every single thing. So make sure that you are reaping benefits in the proper time frame. Nothing exists forever except for the Most High.
Yeah, but with the seasons, you got to put the work in. That's why I say education. We say education. You got to put the work in. You can't just be like, oh, it's this season, of Passover and New Year and stuff like that. No, did you put that work in when it was dry? Like,
That's a hard question. They want to answer that one.
Was you tilling the ground while it was dry? Was you planting seeds when it was dry and stuff, knowing that, hey, it's about to rain next week or in a month or so? So it really goes back to the foundation. It goes back to the word. It goes back to the word. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
It's getting very serious, guys, because it's a lot of things that's about to happen, and I don't think most of the people are ready. Most
aren't
people
guaranteed.
that I see and stuff is like, man, like, I just don't get it. I just don't. I mean, we know everybody's not gonna make it, so.
Well, it's also spiritual. Like the mindset of people, poverty is a spirit. Meaning, you see those football players. My parents will always tell me this. You see football players that make it, or quote unquote make it, become multimillionaires, sign all of these contracts. 5-10 years later, they're broke. You say how? Because poverty is a mindset. Poverty is a spirit. A spirit is a set of patterns and principles that you are committed to. So not being good with finances isn't just a lack of knowledge, but it's actually you being committed to not being good with finances. It's being committed to being wasteful. It's being committed to not desiring knowledge and education. It's being committed to not being generous and kind and being a blessing. It's being committed to things that give you more poverty. So this is why football players can make millions and then come out 5 to 10 years later and have zero. That literally should not happen. Wealth starts in the spirit. It's a mindset, okay? It's a mindset. And I keep saying this because we need people to understand this. When we're talking about business, we're talking about finance, we're talking about traveling Africa long-term sustainably without going back to America every 3 seconds. What we're talking about is putting off a spirit of poverty and overly dependentness on a society that's collapsing. That's the title of this video. The collapsing society, the 7 signs. And it's like you have to come into a mindset where you're not going to reap the fruits of poverty any longer. Poverty, here's some symptoms of poverty. Poverty is loud. Poverty looks like chains. Poverty looks like telling all the folks this, doing that. Wealthy people, I grew up in a very wealthy community where the average cost of a house is like $600,000. That's where I grew up. So I've grown up around wealth and came from a family that had wealth. Wealth is quiet. Wealth is not boisterous and loud and in all the street corners. Wealth is like, I'm going to wear some regular clothes. I'm going to wear my regular hair. I'm going to do everything to not draw attention to myself because I know what I have. That's wealth mindset. Poverty mindset is everybody needs to see me. I'm trying to put on for the Joneses. I'm in competition. I want this. I want that just to flex. Flexing is poverty mindset. You will be in poverty so quick. This is why so many entrepreneurs go out of business, because they do things that don't make sense. Everything you do needs to go back to a bottom line. Everything you do needs to make sense. There needs to be a principle applied to everything. We don't just do things just for the sake of doing them. That's why you can have so much success in a quick time, because when you're intentional, it's in alignment. It makes sense. It's easy to come on and post videos. It's easy to create blogs on our website. It's easy to serve clients, and you come joyfully. Why? Because there's an intention and alignment behind it. But poverty loves to do things randomly. Poverty is like anti-strategy. Joseph in Egypt, master strategist. He was anti-poverty, because everything he did was intentional. He received divine insight that said, okay, let's store this many, let's store that many, let's steward this over here, let's steward that over here. That's intention, that's strategy. That's not the funnest thing. Obviously, it's more fun to be like out and about and just attracting vanity to yourself.
That's really that's your bloodline. That's our bloodline. Put it like that. Like really, Joseph. When you think about it, we are strategists. Like the nations are gonna be listening to us, so you might as well get your practice in. You're gonna have to endure to the end. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You
If you don't start, you won't have anything.
If you don't start, it's not just by. I mean, it could. All praises. It could be like Joseph. Like the night before Pharaoh called him, Most High gave him all the languages to speak and stuff, and it could be like that. I'm not putting nothing past the Most High, but you gotta start somewhere. You really do. And it's right here. Like it's right here at your hand.
In your fingertips.
In your fingertips. You can look up anything on YouTube. You can really get the counseling that you need, the mentorship that you need, everything at your fingertips.
Depending on your mindset, it's
Starts in the mind.
Mindset is so crazy. It's not crazy, but it's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
If your mindset is not right, again, back to the football player analogy, you can have money and you'll lose it so quickly because poverty is a spirit. Poverty is a set of principles that you abide by that make your money go away super quick or that stop you from multiplying what you have. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's it for this video. The 7 signs of the collapse of the empire.
I be watching, what's the YouTube? They be coming up, the Hard Knocks or something? Hard Knocks channel or something. It's this guy that goes around the world that asks wealthy people, like, some advice and stuff for the next generation and stuff. And most of the wealthy people say, if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it at all. So if you're thinking about buying a house, that means that you gotta have 2 times the money to buy it.
Yeah, you better.
So
unless you want to be in debt.
Yeah. If the mortgage is, $3,000, you better already have $6,000 put aside, ready. You get what I'm saying? So if you cannot buy it twice, don't buy it at all.
Yeah. Facts. No matter what people say, no matter what people tell you to do.
And that's a hard mindset to get over. Like, really.
Yeah.
Because I be thinking, I'm like, man, I want a boat. I'm like, dang, I gotta at least have like 100, 200 just to try to buy a boat. If I
boats
want to buy a boat.
60,000. Yeah. 120.
Yeah, so it's like, dang, that's okay. Now it's the mindset. This is possible. It's possible.
Yeah, you don't soak into a lot of debt prematurely.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, debt may look good on the outside, but it does not feel good on the inside. Okay?
Yeah, we're really at a time where your inside is gonna be eaten up because you're trying to hide a lot of things that you just how my wife was just saying. It looks good on the outside, but on the inside, it's like just tearing you up. And that's something that you do not want. Because that's how people like get sick faster or quicker. They die at a younger age and stuff. Like it's really like you just want to be at peace inside.
Yeah.
You want to have that joy inside. So make sure you take care of your inside. Cleanse your inside. Refine your inside with the word. With the understanding of the word. Just allow the Ruach to heal you, because if you're not trying to get healed, it's not going to be a good time when this time is right around the corner.
And debt doesn't heal you.
Yeah.
Buying things doesn't heal you. You going into massive amounts of debt. We can say this as people that have very minimal debt. I mean, maybe $3,000 at most. And that's like shocking to people. Like the average American has 6 figures in debt. Mm-hmm. We're not average. Y'all know on this channel we're not average. That's just point blank period. But in a society where the average person in the West has 6 figures of debt at any given time, Yes, it seems invisible, but at the end of the day, your immune system, your nervous system knows you owe banks 50, 100K. That tears on your body. People always ask us, you look so happy. Clients are like, oh my gosh, you're so engaged and happy in the meetings. It's like, yeah, my conscience is clear. I don't owe 50 million people. I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm not trying to be nobody else. I'm me. My business is a reflection of me and my values. The journey with us is a reflection of us and our values. We live a very much simple life in the essence that we don't owe a lot of things to a lot of people. That right there is just it. Like, that's the main thing. Because debt in a collapsing society will send you possibly to jail, depending on how the economy is looking. That's what those people who did those PPP loan scams were finding out. Oh, I shouldn't have did that.
Yeah, it's so much to talk about. Yeah.
You don't get out more debt in a collapsing society. Pay off your debts, be done with it, own your business, own your time, and keep your values and principles intact. Network with locals in whatever areas that you live in, and move to a place that has a 60% lower cost of living right off the bat. Mauritius, Africa, 100% does. Africa in general, most times your cost of living is going to be 60% lower, if not 80% lower, depending on how much able you are to live a local African lifestyle, provided that you choose the right country. Now, the right country needs to be somewhere that's on the least corrupt African countries list. It needs to be out the way. That's what we do. We go to places that are out the way that nobody really knows about. Why? Because it doesn't make you a target.
Yeah, right.
We go to places. We go to places where the people don't speak English. Why? Because it doesn't make you a target. This isn't time to be target practice. You don't want to be the target in target practice in a world that is shifting in geopolitics. It makes you a target. It's not wise. Proverbs says in the Bible that discretion shall guard you. If you don't know what discretion is, just take some time to Google it. But to be discreet is to be someone that operates intentionality and does not put themselves on Front Street. You're in spiritual warfare. The same geopolitics that you see happening, that's spiritual warfare manifesting in the physical. Where Germany and other European countries say, US, we're putting on travel restrictions. We're warning our European citizens not to go to America. When in history has that ever been a thing? Those are symptoms of a collapsing society. And so again, the next question, what is your solution going to be in a collapsing society? But I think that's it for this video. Shalom, shalom. See y'all next time. Check out the Black Educators Amplified playlist, the Living in Mauritius playlist, and we'll see you in the next video.
Shalom, family.